Hey everyone, this is Mr. Payton. I'm gonna finish up my series on purpose, and I thought I would finish it up by sharing just a little bit about what my experience has been in living my purpose, managing it, and all of that. So, for those of you who had a chance to see my very first video on this topic, I talked about how I found my purpose in my sophomore year of college at the age of 19. I knew then that I wanted to be an educator, coach, mentor, counselor, all that kind of stuff. I didn't know all those positions would be part of it, but I knew I wanted to do something in education because as far as I knew at that time, that was the best way to do what it was that I felt like I was going to be good at doing and that I thought I was going to feel the most fulfilled doing. And so that journey has led me through teaching a number of grade levels, 7 to be exact. And then anybody who knows anything about education, like you tend to stay in like one certification, but I have multiple. And so I've had the opportunity to teach math as a subject, science as a subject, social studies, ELA, and science. And then most recently, I had a chance to be a special area teacher doing a financial literacy class, business class here at a school here in Arizona where I live. But in doing all of that, as time has passed, why I got into it was simple. I didn't feel like I was as prepared as I could have been as a student. And I felt like some of the things that were missing, ironically, were not the soft skills. I honestly felt like the rigor, meaning how difficult the instruction or challenging the instruction was coming from the teacher. I didn't feel like it was there. I was a strong student, but I didn't feel like I was ever really challenged academically. And so when I see some of the things that kids are exposed to now, there are far more resources, but I still don't feel like they're being challenged. I feel like we just kind of hand it to them and say good luck. So I set out to be a teacher that set high standards. As a coach, I was very tough on my athletes from the standpoint of them setting goals and trying to get better every day. It sounds funny, anybody who coaches knows what I'm talking about, but it was never about winning. It was always about practicing great habits. The wins just take care of themselves. So I've always had that philosophy about how I did what I did, and that has been my purpose my entire life, is to help young people and even some people my age get the most out of what they were doing. So if I'm your science teacher, we're going to do experiments and we're going to have discussions, and hopefully politics or your own personal issues are not going to get in the way of that, because to me there's two different things there. As an educator, I may be African American, you may be Hispanic, you may be white, you may be from another country, but that shouldn't change the fact that I'm going to deliver instruction and demand high standards from you. As I've gone about that, I would honestly say that I haven't encountered many issues in that area. Like a lot of people who are African American like myself and live in the United States talk about a lot of racism. I haven't had a whole lot of issue with that. Maybe it's because I've worked in Title I, which is low income areas. So maybe because there's a lot of people in similar situations. They didn't look like me, because if you know anything about Arizona, there's not a whole lot of black people here. So it's not like I was just teaching black kids all the time, so I didn't have to worry about issues of race. But by and large, people have accepted me as an exceptional educator, as a caring person, as a leader, as a strong voice, in terms of an advocate for young people, my students or athletes, in whatever capacities I found myself. But what I will say now is that I feel like not only have I outgrown the classroom, but I've grown to a point where my purpose now is to help more than just young people. It's to help everybody. And I feel like there's some information out there that everybody needs. And one of the most important ones would be financial literacy. It's, everybody who's out here knows economy is frightening these days. The prices are so high, and how do we stretch our dollar and do all these kinds of things? But I think there are some basic things that we can all do to improve our situations. Mental health. I think that life skill is important. And I'm going to say something that's possibly controversial here, but it's amazing now. So all of a sudden now everybody has a mental health issue. And again, if you're not in school, you don't know what I'm talking about. Literally, I will have second and third graders say, you know, I don't know if I'm comfortable in this room. I think I need to get out of it. And let me be clear here. Remember, I have a counseling background. That's not to say that that's not a legitimate feeling or thought. But what I will say is the fact that a 6 or 7-year-old can walk up to a teacher and say, I don't want to learn today because I don't feel comfortable, and they walk out of the class. Like literally walk out of the class. I know that there are other schools that have better protocols in place, but the fact that a kid can opt out is what I'm talking about. I can't work in that environment. I cannot. Me as a teacher, the idea that a student can look you in the eye and opt out of doing their work, opt out of participating, opt out of behaving, no, absolutely not. Sebastian Payton, the educator, cannot work in that environment. I don't know if anybody can. Maybe the other teachers are just better than I am. Maybe they're more adaptive than I am. But part of being able to instruct someone or support someone is that we have an agreement. There's almost what we call like a social contract. I am going to share my expertise. In return, you're going to show a certain level of respect and work at a certain pace. And again, let me be clear on what I'm saying here. I'm not saying kids don't have real anxiety. I'm not saying kids don't have real depression issues. I'm not saying they don't have real diagnoses that prevent them from learning in a quote unquote mainstream environment. What I am saying is that idea alone has caused a number of parents and students to manipulate the system to the point where kids just flat out don't have to learn anymore. They can just say that, I think this test is making me feel stressed, so I can't take it. I think that going outside is a frightening experience, so I will not go to PE and I will not walk outside for recess. And my point is this, in all of my years of education, what I know is this: a lot of things are uncomfortable and a lot of things are difficult. In my experience, the only way we get better at them is to be exposed to that stimulant or that circumstance that is difficult with support and find a way to meet that challenge. The way things are right now, we just avoid anything that's difficult. So if a kid gets cut from a team, guess what they do? Go to another team. We see it in college. If a kid's not getting playing time, I'm switching to another school. With young people, I don't think people really understand what I'm saying here. I'm telling you that kids are allowed to say that they don't have to do the assignment because they're not feeling safe. My problem with that is that that language did not come from another kid. That is not a natural way to express yourself. That is something that is being taught, whether it's through society at large or at home. It is being taught that if something is uncomfortable, again, not impossible. I'm not talking about a kid who can't read on grade level and I'm forcing them to read the Iliad. I'm not talking about teaching calculus to first graders. What I am talking about is if I do a vocabulary lesson and I give you a vocabulary worksheet, you are allowed to walk up to the teacher and say, I don't feel comfortable with this worksheet. I don't feel comfortable working today. I need to go to the quiet room or the timeout room. Do we understand what is going to happen if everybody is allowed to do that? I don't think we do. And so to me, that's a small part of why I don't feel like my purpose is any longer to be in the classroom. The larger reason why I feel like my purpose is no longer to be in the classroom is that I now understand that helping young people is really important, but if I can reach their parents, then I may even have a greater impact. So as I move forward, I'm going to focus on some areas of adult education, whether they be in the financial world, the counseling world, wherever. But I really am going to finally shift to adult education. My sister, Dr. Green, is a professor in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm sorry, the greater part of Atlanta, Georgia. She's in Georgia. But she's really always wanted me to be at the college level, and so maybe I'll explore that. But I just thought it would be valuable to share some of my experiences. I am very concerned about the state of things, and I think that if I can reach the parents and give some of this information and share and start to have this dialogue with the parents, then maybe we can reach the kids. Because it seems to me right now that our young people are getting some bad information. And for me to spend 45 minutes with them as a special area teacher or 6 hours with them during the day, believe it or not, is not enough anymore. I'm going to have to go to the source, which is their family, their people, and being on platforms like this to share this information, because what we're doing right now is going to create a group of people who are incapable of doing anything on their own. They're not going to be able to do anything independently, not going to be able to contribute to society at all. And so this is kind of like my little rant, but it really is, it's something I'm passionate about. And I've loved teaching young people, and I've loved being in the classroom, but I just know it's time to do something else now. And hopefully doing adult education is going to be the way that I can continue to contribute to the community. So again, I hope you've enjoyed my videos. I hope you've enjoyed this series. My name is Mr. Payton. My first name is Sebastian Payton. And I'm an educator here in Arizona, and I'm just hoping to help people and contribute to the positivity and the improvement of people overall. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.